I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the
Welcome to the 3-on-3 podcast. This is your guy. Oh no, this is not your guy, Hans. You brought here today by your guy, Evan. Here with my boy, Lou. And can't forget the one and only Pod Mamba in the background keeping us in line today. We're here 2/3 of the three-man weave. Hans pulled a KD on us today, late scratch, knee issues, something of the latter. But we're gonna do better than the Rockets did in Game 1. And don't worry, we'll talk about that too. Get well, my boy Hans. But before we get into all that, in 3-on-3 podcast tradition, we got to give a special shout out to our guy, the one and only Pod Mamba. Made another trip around the sun over the weekend, so we got to give him his just due. I gotta say, he wouldn't tell me how old he was, but I'm sure there's a story with him being born, late April. I'm sure there's a story of a first round playoff game that his parents had to miss to push this young man out over on the West Coast. So shout out to the Pod Mamba. Just want to say thank you for being a tremendous teammate, a new brother in my life, sharing this passion of basketball. And as we go about this thing, I'm definitely wishing you a tremendous year, a tremendous weekend, and many, many more to come. So shout out to you, Pod
If you
Mamba.
must know, Evan, I was born on Good Friday.
Wow.
Okay.
So I'm a holy man.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
You know what?
Prayers up.
It's your birthday weekend, so we're only positive things to say here for you this time. But like Evan said, man, we toasting up to you. Shout out to the Pod Mamba himself. I mean, really, you have the coolest nickname out of all of us because you're the only one with a nickname on the show. But no,
I can think of some for you guys if you want.
Nope, no. This is about you, Christian. But yeah. As we look, we're the third season in. This is crazy. This is wild.
Time flies. Time flies.
I know. So looking forward to many more times for us to be able to come together. But more importantly, man, have another great year, man. So toast up to you. Shout out to the Pod Mamba. Happy birthday, brother.
I appreciate
Happy
it, guys.
birthday, my
I
boy.
appreciate everyone who's here wishing me a happy birthday, and only the people here.
Hey, you know what? I can't talk too much, man. I don't know what the bug is that's going around. I know I was going
The
last.
bug. Just take a goddamn cough drop and just hop on. What the hell?
Hey, man, look. Hans is just taking his Laker hateration to new heights.
He's just mad. He's mad because Luke Kennard did work. Hey, wait, we'll get A. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, sorry.
Okay.
To be fair, he did call out sick after the game was over.
I need 24-hour notice.
What I will say
This
is
is an HR complaint.
HR complaint? I don't know, man. These things happen in threes. So, Evan, are you next?
Listen, I'm over here. I'm not gonna say I'm 100% myself, but I'm gonna do my best to
Evan's
carry
got kids.
through.
He's sick 24/7. You know how many germs they bring him?
That part there. You're not saying anything false. You're not saying anything false. But the show must go on, so we will do our thing. First round of the playoffs, y'all. We're here. Playoff weekend going on now. We had some exciting games already played, more to come. But before we jump into the games that have been played, the actual playoff games that count, let's talk about the games that don't go in the record books, don't go in the stats, but they're played just the same. Let's talk about the play-in tournament real quick. Let's close the chapter on teams that almost made it but didn't make it. We'll start off with those Golden State Warriors and by extension the Los Angeles Clippers, the other LA team out there. Warriors coming out first on Tuesday. We had another turn back the clock. Steph Curry heroics moment in a thrilling playing game. They beat the Clippers 126 to 101. 121 on Wednesday, but then follow that up by getting pretty much housed by the Phoenix Suns to wrap up that last play-in spot on Friday, 111 to 96. With that, we had Steph Curry with some tremendous heroics on the first game, sending the Clippers packing. But then we had Draymond Green crashing out towards the end, getting thrown out of the game against the Phoenix Suns. So you see the best and the worst of the Warriors in their playing experience. Lou, tell me what your thoughts are. Is this the end of the Warriors as we know it, or are we still going to keep this dream?
They keep talking about, well, we have a lottery pick, and who were their two last lottery picks? With Moody, Kuminga. We'll see how that worked out. Both Steph and Draymond have a year left on their contracts. So what are we looking at? If the Golden State Warriors front office is smart, they take this last tour. You cut your ties with Draymond for nostalgic purposes. You ask Steph what he wants to do. And you actually go into full rebuild mode. It's great to have these moments where you can add another highlight to Steph's reel, and I mean, quite frankly, another one to Draymond's as well. But what is it that you guys want to look for now? Because the lore of the Warriors of old now, you're looking at talking about what we did 10 years ago type thing. So no, if the Warriors are smart now, man, they use this opportunity with the talent in the league right now, the draft classes that are coming up, and the looming extensions in terms of the expansion of the NBA with two more teams as prime time for rebuilding.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Steph Curry, I think he's 36 now, we saw what he looked like over the past week. Do you think he can still be either a top player or top two player on a team that can contend for a championship?
I think he could be a top shooter for a team contending for a championship. I think we look at it similar in the same vein that we see KD playing, right? You build a proper structure around him that where you're looking for strictly in terms of point scoring. You're not looking for him to be the one that's driving the success of the team, formally, right? You have to pair him with some other really high level talent, some other number ones, 1As and 1Bs to really be able to kind of make up for whatever deficiencies that he may have at this point. We know Steph, as great as he is, and the nature of his game may allow him to play another probably 3-4 years. But his role will be similar to like KD's. He can be the 1B or second best scorer on a championship contending team.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, when you see that level that he's still at, I mean, I think he could be one of the best players on a contending team. But yeah, I think he needs definitely somebody to carry it and him play off of more. In my opinion, I hope they finally do what they need to do, turn Draymond into something else. Steve Kerr, his contract is up. It'd be interesting to see if they cut bait with him as well. Let him, bow out gracefully and try to turn into just something markedly different than what they've been the last couple of years, to try to stretch out these last couple of years of KD. It'll be interesting to see. So that's them. That's the Golden State Warriors. The Clippers, I mean, they're the Clippers. What more do we need to say about them? The way they started the season, they ended the season not in the playoffs. So fun run in the middle, but I think we've said enough about the Clippers. Let's just see what happens with this report of this scandal if we ever find anything out about that.
Spot Mama is grinning. I know he's just grinning at all things happening with the Clippers right now.
Clippers crashing out. Lakers got to win in the playoffs. It's a good weekend for the Pod Mamba.
Happy birthday.
Real quick, we'll shift to the East real quick. So we have Charlotte versus Miami. Shout out to Miami. I saw this joke. I can't avoid not saying it. Shout out to Miami for playing exactly 83 games this year in commemoration of Bam Adebayo's 83 points. We had a thrilling game, maybe the best game of the quote unquote postseason so far. The Hornets Heat game, Hornets pull out a thriller in OT, but then Friday night, of course, they completely crap the bed, whatever you want to say, against the Orlando Magic. 31-point loss against a team that I thought was ready to go home themselves. Another year of Charlotte being Charlotte. If you're the Charlotte Hornets, do you feel like, hey, we ended it, we still had a good year, we built something here, or was it fool's gold? What you think?
Oh no, I think based on the moves that they made and the run that they made late, gives them some type of life. I think the disappointing part is that you lost to the Orlando Magic, right? But yeah, I think right now they're in a position. They're still trending in a better direction. But it's like when we said in previous episodes, right? They're running fast in slow motion, right? They're going faster, but nowhere at all, or haven't made much movement at all. So Charlotte is looking to prove that they're still an AAU team of the NBA, but I think if they continue with the current trend, we'll see where it goes. Who knows? Is this karma for what happened with Miami? Some may say that's the case because of LaMelo and his questionable actions against Bam. So we'll see. But I think Charlotte has an opportunity.
No, right there with you. I think when you see what they've built over this year, the players that they've brought together, answered some questions from a LaMelo standpoint, answered some questions from a great pick with Nipple, right? So I think they have the pieces there. I think now they can really look at their roster and say, okay, what do we need to go after this offseason for us to definitively make the next step? Because they got good coaching, good players, good infrastructure. Shout out to Kobe White. They got what they need in place. So I think that'd be good to go.
Couldn't let that one go, huh?
Sorry. All right, that's enough with the teams that didn't make the playoffs. Let's get to the real meat and potatoes of the conversation, right? We're here, playoff weekend. They talk about different weekends that are great. I know Super Bowl Sunday, that's a day folks get excited about. When March Madness kicks off, everybody's pretending to work on that Thursday and then Friday so they can watch March Madness. We just finished up the Masters. Our golf fans, there's nothing like Masters Sunday, but there's something special about that opening weekend of the playoffs. That Saturday, Sunday, when you're getting 8 games, right, from noon, basically 1 o'clock to almost midnight, of some of the best basketball in the world. And we've made it here, y'all. We've made it. It's been a long season, some exciting moments along the way. Hans isn't here, so I can say the things that, he may not want me to say. We have long since forgotten that the opening week of the of the season started with Hans's coach getting arrested for gambling, right? Look at that. That was so long ago. Here we are in the playoffs kicking off. So we've had some games on the way, some games to come. Pop Mama's birthday. Let's go to his area, his account first.
As you bringing that up, it is interesting, right? That there was a clean sweep of the higher seeds on Saturday. I was hoping to get a couple an upset or two in there, but all the higher seed teams did their job,
and not only did their job, in a way, took care of business. That was you make a good point. Now, y'all listen to us once a week. You may think, we're gonna give you some measured, takes. Let's not overreact. It's just one game. But hey, if we want to overreact, let us overreact, okay? Let's talk about these Lakers and these Rockets first. All right. So game 1, and I gotta call myself out when I call myself out. We recorded last week. We called that there would be the Lakers-Rockets series. We thought the Nuggets would take care of business to lock up the 3 seed. Shout out to the Nuggets on a good game there. So we saw Lakers-Rockets as a series that would possibly take place. But what we did say, we dismissed the Lakers' chances completely with them not having Luka, not having Austin Reeves. Didn't see LeBron being able to do much of anything against this Rockets team without his help. What we did not know was that 90 minutes before game time, Kevin Durant would be a late scratch due to a knee injury that was sustained in practice this past week.
Hmm.
News like that changes the complete trajectory of the series potentially. So the Lakers, game one, they pull out a 107-98 victory over the Rockets. LeBron James looking in rare form, 19 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. And it wasn't just LeBron. There's a lot of good actors that stepped up in this game. Now, it's just one game. We still got a whole series to go. But when you talk about the Lakers versus the Rockets, you're looking at the prospects of, okay, will KD be back? Was this just one game? Does this extend the runway for Luka to get back into this series? Lou, when you digest this series, where it's at and where it's at so far, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have to give props to where props are due, and unfortunately, it has to do with Lakers. You know, Pod Mamba let us know that of all people, Luke Kennard was gonna get it done. you know, and he had a good showing, man. You know, not
These words were spoken on a podcast.
yeah,
Yes.
hey man. So him going 9 for 13, and going 5 for 5 from three. Talk about getting the boost when you need it. So I mean, as I'm looking at this, there's a couple things I'm thinking about, right? Because the game, if we real, it stayed pretty close. It was really in the third quarter where we saw like the real separation. And Houston really wasn't able to get that back. But now, do you? Trying to look at it more. Do I think about this as the Houston should feel good coming out of this, for them to still have been played this well, even without KD on the floor? Or are some of the players, have they necessarily reached what we expected them to be? You know, I mean, and chiefly thinking about Sengun, right? As I've been somebody to praise Sengun a lot. Sengun, he did have a great. I mean, he did, was able to put 19 points up, but when you would have to do it on 6 from 19 shooting, that raises some flags, right? You had Shepard again, 6 from 20 shooting to be able to give you 17 points, and then you also have Thompson to give you 17 for 7 from 18 shooting. So they're putting up a lot of shots, but they're not playing very efficiently. So again, do you look at it as like, hey, if we can tighten this up, with KD back in the rotation, this would be easy for us to easy win for us. But the problem is you have if Luca comes back, then you have the added layer to it, right? Where you not have to worry about. Well, if LeBron can turn the clock back again, and this is why you have a LeBron on your team, right? He's gonna give you that one game or two games where again, he just like Steph, he gave you the best looks that he could give. It's just not something that you're gonna expect on a consistent basis. But KD comes back and is able to play consistently. I think it goes back to exactly what the prognosis, right? The prediction was before, is that they'll be able to kind of end this pretty quickly. But Lakers got it done on their home floor as they should. Houston is a perfect opportunity for them to come in and steal one, and kind of put themselves put the Lakers backs against the ropes. But I think it's going to be a good series. I think of all of the four games, this probably was the most interesting.
No, so I'm right there with you from a Lakers standpoint and also from a Houston standpoint. You talk about the shooting woes when you go 38% from the field as a team, when the team you're opposing goes 61% from the field, right? 33% from three for Houston versus 53% from the Lakers. That just speaks to that inability to get good shots. And from a Houston standpoint, yes, that's precisely what KD was brought there for, right? To be that release valve for difficult shots, somebody who's going to get dependable shots regardless of what the other team throws at them. But you make a tremendous point. And yes, it's one game, but we talk about players all the time from a potential lens, right? Of what we see them being, what we see them developing into. But you have to develop into that. And one thing about the playoffs is you could be a lot of things during the regular season, but the playoffs really exposes who you most are, right?
Yeah.
When the lights are the brightest. So, again, yeah, it's one game, but by all accounts, now, Ime Udoka, he's not one that's going to make any excuses. He came out and say, we prepared all week with the likelihood that KD might not play game one. So if I take him at his word, right, they were prepared to play this game without KD, but they came out and could not perform and create shots and create enough solid offense without KD, which means that they're kind of where they were last year based off of just this one game, which is not fair. But if it's not better than that, then that means, okay, they've not developed as much from last year as you thought they would have by this point.
Yeah, you hope that. I mean, I really think one of the things that Houston is proud of themselves really see Udoka is that their defensive ability, and I think that's something that with Sengun will end up being kind of a liability on their end. I mean, you Aiton did what he was supposed to do, like what the type of caliber player that he should be, the 1911 guy, right? He's supposed to be a 20 and 10 type of guy, but he hasn't necessarily displayed it, and you don't. And I think most of us would think that Sengun is a better center than he is, but they basically cancel each other out. Both scoring 19 points, Aiton slightly edging him out for rebounds. But this is where you need somebody like Sengun to be. You can't let Aiton get those easy shots, because if you limit those, then you make that game just that much more. You put more pressure on the Lakers for them to have to be able to make it on other places on the court. I mean, granted, yes, when you have somebody like Kennard who can come in and give you 5 for 5 from 3, you're not going to get that every night. Those are the ones, those outlier games. But you try to minimize the guys that are going to come in and get into a particular rhythm, because you don't want that. And I think that's something that they're going to probably have to look at going into game 2, and how they can tighten up on defense, especially as they think about it in the paint.
Luke Kennard. I'm just going to drop this little nugget. Luke Kennard is one of 3 Laker players in history to have his first playoff game with the team have 5 for 5. Sorry, not first playoff, just in general. 5 for 5 from 3 in the playoffs. It's him, Byron Scott, and Robert Horry.
Good company.
So I ask on that real quick. Did they go all the way back to the Minneapolis playoff runs as well? Or is it because the 3-point line didn't exist?
It didn't exist.
I just want to make sure we captured the whole
story. You know this.
Okay. All right. We captured the whole history of the Lakers.
Okay, the whole history of the Lakers.
I don't want to leave anybody out.
If it existed back then Pete Maravich would probably have the record over Steph.
Oh my gosh.
Just making sure. Just making sure. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What? couple more things on the Lakers.
Don't sleep on them.
Hey, look, you're right. You called it. You told us from the jump. We dismissed this team. You can't ignore the institutional knowledge that LeBron James has from a playoff standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's be honest, he's loving this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, team. KD might have sat this one out on purpose. This is LeBron script writing 101 right here.
Don't get me started.
All the stars are gone. It's on me at 41 years old to carry this team on my back. Michael never did that. Michael never did that.
Oh,
you already know.
Of course, bro. Of course.
The camera crews are rolling.
They're ready. You know that, he was getting freshened up for that post-game interview.
Absolutely. I gotta go back and see what his suit looked like. One last thing before we'll transition to the other game. Luka went to Spain, get his leg looked at. What level of insurance do you have to be able to go get the best doctor in the world? Probably skirting the laws of U.S. Healthcare, whatnot. To cut your return time in half if it can be.
The experimental procedures.
I mean, this is the sports version of the Colombian BBL, right?
Colombian versus the Dominican BBL.
That's all I'm saying.
Versus
the
Miami BBL.
It's the sports version of that.
Or who is the premier doctor that nobody wants, that everybody that they're gatekeeping, right?
Right.
That's the best gatekeeping.
Look, all he did was get some stem cells. He went to Spain, got some stem cells. All right, improve. It increases circulation into specific areas to increase blood flow and healing. these are things that are just been common. I mean, Kobe was doing it back in the day. He went to Germany.
Yep.
That's my point. When did Spain surpass Germany as the
He
spin
didn't.
as the
I think
stem
Luca just wanted to go
cell
to Spain.
epicenter?
Very interesting. Very
Okay.
interesting.
Luca played for
Yeah.
Barcelona, for FC Barcelona, or no, Madrid. Sorry, he played for
He knew
Madrid.
somebody. Okay, that makes sense. He had the
Okay.
plug already.
Okay.
Okay. No, I
Makes
respect
sense.
that. I
Makes sense.
respect that. Well, they saying he should be back in possibly 10 to 14 more days. So hopefully LeBron carries his team, holds the fort till Luca gets back and we see a full squad.
Yay.
No, he
Pop
could
up.
he could just rest. He could just rest for the second round because we're gonna close this out in 5,
Oh,
so no matter.
oh, okay.
Oh, with no Luca.
Man, your
No Luca just
your
against KD.
your birthday episode. No rebuttal. No rebuttal. You
Let's
got
see.
it.
Let's see how that knee holds up for KD. We'll see.
Whoa. Sounds like a leaker threat.
Not a threat. I'm just
Like,
saying. If KD can't be at full strength, like what does this Rockets team have?
Oh man.
game one certainly poses that question. You're not
Absolutely.
wrong. You're not wrong. All right, transitioning from to the other game that we've seen so far, Nuggets versus Wolves. T-Wolves started off strong. Nuggets resisted their initial barrage, came back to pull out that game 116 to 105. Another strong showing from both the Joker and Jamal Murray, what we've come to expect in the playoffs from this standpoint. Yeah, 25, 13, and 11. No, just your run of the mill triple double for the Joker. 30 points for Jamal Murray, including 16 of 16 from the free throw line that the Wolves weren't too happy with after the game. So it's one game, but it's a series as well. Teams have played 3 times in the past 4 years. Lou, what's your thoughts on this series overall and where we're at so far?
Man, I think this is probably going to be one of the more exciting series, strictly just because whatever history is there, between these two teams. I think it's crazy that to talk about Joker is just to say just run in the mill when what he's doing is a, a level of elite that is just beyond what we've been seeing in the league, but. Yeah, he just comes in, puts some work in and is out of here. And then we talk about, level of efficiency, man. He's able to get those 25 points only getting to the free throw strike once on 11 to 19. Jamal Murray, I'm not necessarily surprised in terms of the volume of shooting on him getting his 30 from 7 for 22, but his poor shooting night really saved by him getting to the free throw line. And we know that player of basketball, that's a big part of it. Right, in terms of slowing the game down, getting the shots that you want, and getting to the free throw strike. So, shout out to Jamal Murray, trying to look like the Jamal Murray of old when they came in and won their last championship. So, having Aaron Gordon back obviously makes it much easier for the Nuggets to be more fluid and having more of a complete team, and then having the guys that are coming in and giving the help like Christian Brown and so on. But I think there's a little bit of concern with the Timberwolves. At this point you got to think about, have they hit their ceiling, right? Have they hit their ceiling, and has Ant hit his ceiling? Right? Is he just going to be what we see during the season? The fun, the hype, the fun highlights during the season. Or is he going to be able to be the one to really get them over the hump? Because the way that this roster was constructed, it was really for them to do that. And really, if you're looking at it, I mean, Gobert probably stepped it up the most in terms of being their most productive player on the court. Man. I mean, being their most efficient. I mean, getting his 17 on 8 or 9, and giving you a double. So I think the question is, I mean, he was close to a trip up with a 22, 9, and 7, but like you have it in 7 to 19 game shooting, 2 for 9 from the 3-point strike. Are you now forcing those shots? Right? Are we going back to where they had the post game interview where he had that game winner? Obviously, the coach didn't run that play. That wasn't a shot. It was a bad shot, but but I made it. Right now, are you catching the back end, right? The downturn of that where you keep shooting from forcing these shots, taking these poor shots, it actually is going to hurt your team, and then the level of growth that we're expecting is just not being achieved. I don't know. What are you thinking? Have they hit this ceiling or not? For me, if we have another playoff series where they get bounced out like this, it's gonna be hard for me to believe not.
Well, I think if you're Minnesota, although they probably come in with the confidence of we've played this team multiple times, it still probably ended up being the worst case scenario for them playing this Denver team that was getting healthy. Just from the standpoint of really one of these teams is going to go home in the first round. Like that's crazy when you look at it, right? Two quality teams, but one's going to get bounced out of here early. To the Ant standpoint, I think he's been hurt like the last month, right? And he already plays when he's healthy a somewhat inefficient style of basketball. He's carved out some of the inefficiency, the mid-range dependency. He's very get to the basket, increase the threes, cut out a lot of the inefficiency in the middle. But the offense still doesn't do him a lot of favors. As good as Minnesota has been, a lot of the offense that he gets is based on his own merit, his making his own shots, right? So when he's not 100%, I think you see that in a more inefficient game from him. Where I think this series is really going to be determined, I agree with why Minnesota was stressing the number of free throws that Jamal Murray got, because their game plan is totally around beating Denver up, right? That's how they've been successful against beating this team up in the playoffs, especially as Jamal Murray, who's had some bad series against Minnesota, part because health has been an issue for him, and this is the healthiest he's looked in the past 3-4 years. So they've usually done a great job of keeping Jamal Murray out the paint, making him settle for mid-range and threes, beating him up when he comes, beating him up the whole game and not getting called for it. When they're getting called for it the way they were in game one, he gets to the line, 16 for 16. It's able to offset that he went 0 for 8 from 3, right? But he was able to offset them by getting to the charity stripe. The commentator, Candace Parker and Dwayne Wade, they're giving Gobert a lot of praise in the first half on how he was guarding Joker and taking the challenge and accepting it. But the thing with Joker, and probably obvious, doesn't need me to say, but when you could hold him to 25 points, but he's still getting the assists, right? Still getting the rebounds, still creating easy shots, lobs for Tim Hardaway, lobs for players that shouldn't even be dunking. Like when he's creating these easy baskets, they're demoralizing, because as great as your defense may be, he's just sniping off easy buckets for everybody. So if they're unable to get them out their rhythm, especially now that they're more healthy with Aaron Gordon back, Minnesota may be in for a tough go. And to answer your question, then yeah, they do definitely need to consider, hey, have we hit our ceiling? And are we learning this just painfully early based on the team we're playing?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure the matchup with Gordon and Randall, like who really wins that matchup, right? With a healthy Gordon, because we want to argue healthy Gordon is more consistent than the healthy Julius, right? Now, in terms of your boom factor, right? Can Julius go off for you a game? Yeah, probably more often times than Aaron can. But when you look at it from a defensive perspective, what is Julius Randle doing with Aaron Gordon? You know what I mean? For real. And now you have to deal with it, because you can't now switch off Gobert. You're gonna put Randall on Joker. Good luck. Like what Shaq would say, barbecue chicken. Like, come on, like it's tough when they have their dynamic pieces on the floor, healthy, like you mentioned, and yeah, basically worst case scenario for them. I mean, really, honestly, anybody other than potentially, actually no, even if it was OKC, it'd just be a tough matchup against this Denver, and then just like mentioning the institutional knowledge of LeBron in the playoffs. You're going against this Denver team that, again, also has a bunch of playoff experience as well, and also being champions.
So you mentioned something. So as we transition to the next series, you mentioned something here. Denver, Minnesota playing in round one. The winner of this series plays the winner of the Spurs and Portland series in round two. I'm used that to transition to the Oklahoma City Thunder, as you mentioned, #1 seed. They get Phoenix in round one. They should they win that round, get the winner of the Lakers and Houston in round 2. With so many teams getting knocked off on the other side of the bracket before one gets to OKC, don't mean to look ahead, don't mean to disrespect the Lakers. But could this have played out any better for the OKC Thunder from how they are right now?
All I can say is the OKC Thunder, they did their job in making sure that they were the number 1 seed. Whatever else happens is on everyone else.
That's fair.
Right? Like, isn't that what that's the whole purpose when you do it? You don't try to be number 1 for anybody, you know what I mean? To worry about anybody else. You're number 1 because everybody's supposed to worry about you. But I mean, to your question, yeah, the dominoes are falling in the best way possible. I mean, I think what may have been a little bit better for Denver if they put themselves in a position to be the 2 seed, But either way, I think for OKC, this is why you become the number 1 seed. You let everybody fight it out, and then you snipe it on the back end.
So you see nothing with the Suns making them sweat any bit.
Please don't upset me. Please don't upset me with that bag of chips out in Phoenix.
All right. Well, we'll see what the Thunder do. Last question before we wrap up the West. We got the Spurs and the Blazers. I'm doing this one. This is an Easter egg for my boy Hans. Get well soon. We got the Spurs and the Blazers. We've talked on and on about Wemby. So there's nothing else we could say about Wemby that we haven't said the past month. The Spurs have gotten all our praise and platitudes. For the Blazers, I asked a question real quick. Their new owner came out and said they're not putting any shirts, no playoff shirts on the chairs for game 3 and 4. He then came out and said he's not paying any head coach more than $1.5 million a year. That's peanuts in today's salary. Is it possible by the Blazers not selling their team to Phil Knight when they had the chance that they did in fact end up getting purchased by a slumlord?
Slumlord billionaire, absolutely. I think that what's gonna happen is this squeezing of the budget. I think what is gonna end up backfiring very quickly. I think the owner is gonna, one or two things will happen because he bought out right. It's not with a group, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where he's gonna be like, maybe I really can't manage this investment and gets out of it quickly, or they do so poorly that he's like, all right, man, like for me to recoup, I'm gonna have to open up the checkbook. Because as it currently stands, like what do you expect to get? Because one of the things that the Blazers are lacking right now is just not necessarily on the core identity, but realistically, an identity for the entire team in the city, to galvanize behind them. And how do you galvanize the city around your team? You spend money. So if they want to make this an attractive market enough to get players who want to come and so on and so forth, yeah, man, their owner's gonna have to change his tune very quickly. But sorry, Hans, man, no shade to you, brother, but they'll be able to have time to sit and think about that in about 4 games.
They should have brought Dame back for the playoffs when they had a chance. So 4 games, that sounds about right. All right. That wraps up the West Coast. Let's take it to the East Coast. So, a couple games in the books already. We're going to talk about one series first that I don't think is going to have much to it, but we'll talk about it all the same. Cavs Raptors. So, first off, I'll ask you this. In every series, in every playoffs, especially the first round, there's usually one series that's like, I used to call it the NBA TV series, the one where all the games are going to be on NBA TV. Nobody cares about it. It's usually a 1-8 matchup. This one, surprisingly, this year is a 4-5 matchup. It's usually one of your most exciting. Is this series from this first round? Is this officially the NBA TV series for us?
Yeah, man. I mean, this doesn't seem like it's going to be much of exciting at all. I mean, I think we're looking at two teams that well, specifically in the Cavs, is like they've had a lot of hype before, they've lost it, and I think they've like just lost it altogether now. So they're just a middle of pack team. Who knows? This might be one of the ones you like. Yeah, man, you didn't tune into it, but or you may tune in halfway through the game because you see stuff, whether it's on social media or you hear some highlights, and it seems like it ends up being an exciting game. But Toronto really hasn't shown anything much to really to write home about themselves. This is gonna be like one of those, unfortunately, like one of those lost in the sauce series. I really didn't. I mean, admittedly, I didn't really watch nor care to watch much of Toronto or Cleveland play this season. So I mean, I think if anything, that's an indicator of the probably two least amount of teams that I've watched all season that are playing in the series. And unless you're really a fan for real, I don't really see much of anything really happening.
But man, so you can listen. You got to really be an NBA fan to tune into this series right here.
Yeah, you gotta love it for real. You gotta love it for real, bro. Like,
and you're not wrong. So I tuned in just because it was the first game of the playoffs. As a parent with children, my children were asleep during this game. So caught a nap, and I had a free moment. I had to do with it what I could. So caught most of this game. Donovan Mitchell, solid 32. One thing about Donovan Mitchell, you could say, he's gonna bring you consistency, bring you points in the playoffs. Now, I will say for this series, I think we're in agreement. We're kind of riding off the Raptors here. I don't think they have a chance much in this series. It ended up breaking pretty well for the Cavs. I was certain that the Hawks would wrap up this series, and if you listened last week, that this was going to be a Hawks Cleveland matchup that I thought may be one of the best of the playoffs. I saw it going 6-7. I thought it could be a potential upset. I was talking existential crisis time for the Cavs. I don't see any of those things happening with them against the Raptors, right? And so now not only are they in that position, they're in position where they play the winner of Detroit and Orlando, and that could potentially be some excitement there. So where this thing could have landed for Cleveland, right? Now maybe overreacting, maybe Toronto comes back, pops them in the mouth. They may get that pep talk from Drake, who knows, right? And get them going.
Oh man, you seen the teeth that Drake had?
Listen, that whew. But I think the Cavs will pull this one out, and I think it's good for both the team. It's good for James Harden, who we've had plenty to say about, especially his playoff failings. They need a little warm up series to get some confidence about them before it really gets going.
I see, man. I think James Harden's probably snickering just a little bit that the Clippers, have been booted out. But I don't know, man. It's like, how much of can I watch with ISO basketball, dribble, ISO, dribble? I mean, hopefully I get a pass. So, I mean, granted, having Donovan Mitchell who's a score first type guy, kind of helps. It changes the dynamics a little bit, but it's the same type of Harden game. I'm gonna throw up. We went 8 for 18. Like, come on, you're gonna put up a bunch of shots, and you're gonna do this and the third. But what do we really see come out of it? So, I mean, I agree with you. I think Cleveland comes out. I think this probably ends up being like a gentleman's sweep type of situation. But outside of that, man, I don't know. If Cleveland playing against Detroit in the second round, does it really bode well for them at all? Because that's why I anticipate they will end up playing. Because I don't think that I think they have an answer to how to minimize Harden's effectiveness and defensively being able to slow them down. So we'll see how it goes.
No, only thing I say on that is he does get the most out of Allen and Mobley. Because one thing Harden will do, and spam it all day, is that drive lob play. And so they were even counting during the game. I think Cleveland had like 10, 12 dunks before Toronto got their first dunk of the game in the fourth quarter. So they're gonna spam that to death for sure. So they definitely brought in somebody that can make life easier for their two bigs that were somewhat underachieving. But yeah, I think this series, gentlemen sweep it at best. I think we're in alignment there.
Yeah, man. What you said is perfect. In getting their two involvement, because it's been exactly that. Like we've been thinking of is Mobley. I think we've been pretty okay with like Allen's consistency, but yeah, Mobley has been it been up and down in terms of expectations and the actual production. But yeah, no, I mean, if Harden can bring, he has been able to bring the most out of them too. And but again, when you then have somebody, this is what I'm thinking about in terms of Detroit, when they're able to limit that with for Harden, then what happens with Mobley and Allen, right? So how are they then able to adjust? But that remains to be seen.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that series goes. We'll see if we have to talk about it much more after next week, or they're going to be a quick move to the second round. Other game that we saw Saturday, Knicks versus Hawks. Let's talk about it. So, shout out to. Well, before I get into the pettiness, this series, going back to 2021 and the breakout from Trae Young. This is a series, both regular season and playoffs, two teams that don't particularly like each other. New York and Atlanta themselves have a history about themselves. So I think to get this in round one, a lot of buildup this week was a lot of folks wondering, are the Knicks in trouble? Are the Hawks one of the hottest teams at the end of the year? Definitely came in able to work their way up to where they were. Could have been a fifth seed, lost the last game of the season and dropped to 6. So here with the Knicks. So game one, 113-102. The Knicks pull it out. You get 28 from Jalen Brunson, including 19 in the first half, 25 from Cat. The majority of those points scored in the second half. How you feeling about this series, Lou? Before I say all the things I'm going to say.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say this. Now again, we talk about efficiency. Was it the most efficient night for both Cat and JB and Brunson? I no. You have Brunson that will go 9 for 22, Cat going 6 for 13, but Cat doing something that, again, as we talk about in playoff basketball, that's crucial, right? To be able to get you those easy points and going 10 for 10 from the free throw line. So I gotta give credit to Cat. Shout out to him. Stepping up in the way that has been expected for him to be, or as he was brought on for this roster. I know there's been rumblings about, is this team fractured or not? Is this team having issues with Jalen Brunson? Is he being overused? Is he
fake news?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of stuff going around. In terms of
you can find anything on the internet if you Google for it. Anything.
Your bias is oozing out, brother.
Just saying. Whatever you search for will come up on the internet.
All I know is that the Knicks they came out with this win. I know this actually was a big statement win for themselves, just because of, like you said, like the history between them and Atlanta. And Atlanta is known for coming and showing out on that Madison Square Garden floor. So for them to be able to get this win out in the fashion that they did, with the players that need the confidence moving forward in the series and for the rest of the playoffs, for them to be the ones that got it through, and Cat and Jalen Brunson, it's a great first win. It sets themselves up.
I think Brunson is going to do what he's been doing since he came to New York, right? And so having a series like this, Brunson is going to be a player that sets the tone. Brunson's going to be a player that accomplishes things in crunch time situations. So that this series, and honestly this playoffs, is a referendum on Karl Anthony Towns.
Yep.
And that could be good or bad, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I mean by that is, one, let's be honest, with Joel Embiid injured, Cat is the best center in the East. All right. Shout out to Jalen Duren. A tremendous season. But Cat is the best center in the East. There's no reason he should not, dominate's too strong a word, but play strongly in every series of the
No,
Eastern
no,
Conference
no, no.
playoffs.
If you're the
And if
best in the East, then dominate is the exact word.
that's fair. That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. It's playoff time. All the, all the back and forth, all the frustration, usage, etc. during the regular season. The the owner put down the mandate. I expect this team to compete for a championship this year. All the stories, all the fluff leading up to Saturday morning, they went out the door Saturday morning. It's time to get down and lay down, like Benny Siegel said one
Hey,
time.
come on now.
All right. So, it's on Cat. And I think for this Knicks team, honestly, what it comes down to is perception versus reality. And what I mean by that is the reality at this point is Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart are three tremendous role players. That's what they are. Throw the contracts out the door. They're all three role players.
Look,
All right.
exactly. You got
But
your
it's
hustle, you got your shooter, and then you got your just scorer. You know what I
right,
mean? So, yeah.
right. It's gonna come down to what Brunson and Cat do. And so you show up in the press conference with the fly Knicks jacket. I like it. You gotta put the Knicks on your back, and you got to show up for each round. And so to come out in game one, do what he did in the second half, you're gonna need repetitiveness of that from game to game, round and round. If the Knicks are gonna get what they said they can get.
Yeah, bro. That's gonna be the thing. Can you get that consistently?
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna have to, like you said, because it's only gonna get harder from here.
Nope.
And
Agreed.
we know Atlanta's a team known for just spoiling the party. So they would love nothing better because I think there's something they're playing with a chip on their shoulder a little bit, but they're also kind of playing a little bit free. Like, hey, look, I don't think anybody even expected us to get here. So while we're here, let's milk it. Let's milk it.
And that's why what you said was so important. I've seen the Knicks drop that game one plenty of times and put the pressure on their back. For them to win that game one, every player on the roster had a positive plus minus, right? That means they controlled it from start to finish. They needed to come out with that in game one. We'll see what they do in game two. But good start to the playoffs. So with that, we'll transition to we got a couple other series to kick off. We talked about those Pistons, the Pistons a little bit when we talked about Cleveland. Let's go to it. Pistons Magic. One, Magic got here as we talked about by pulling off a dominant play-in game against the Hornets, lock up that 8th seed, potentially saving Jamal Mosley's job or at least turning it down.
Turn the heat down a little bit.
Yeah, turn the heat down a little bit, right? Turn it down from 10 to 6, depending on what type of stove you got. But yeah, turn it down from high to medium high. But they in here all the same. That's the goal is to get there. You can't play if you don't play.
Yep.
So do we see the Magic giving the Pistons any issues in this playoff series?
Come on now. The Pistons right now playing with something to prove. You don't get to be the number one seed in the East by slacking throughout the season. I mean, even with Cade being down for a couple of games, they're still able to keep their form. So I think that we're surprised that Orlando even got here, if we're honest. So I think this is a quick 4-game in and out. Paolo, it's a real conversation now about Paolo. Paolo is looking like a shell of not even himself, the potential that we thought. The running joke now is like, and he's reached Ben Simmons levels of being afraid to shoot. So, what is he going to do against the defensive prowess of the Detroit Pistons? So, we'll see. I don't think there's anybody's worried. I don't think anybody on the Detroit side is worried about this game. I think that, again, like I said, it'll be a quick in and out. I think that Detroit is going to come in and do what they're supposed to do. They play at what time today? They play at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So it's like, we'll see. We'll see it happen quickly, man. I expect them to, for lack of better terms, come out and really punch Orlando in the mouth. Yeah, go up quick, 2 games. again, best case scenario, and that's still at a low percentage of a gentleman sweep. So yeah, I think they were able to benefit off Charlotte's lacking rather than their what they were necessarily able to produce.
Although I agree with everything you said, I'm gonna go the other way with this, and here's why. Orlando coming into this season, I thought would be a top 4 or 5 team. I think they have the makings and the components of a top 4 team. They have not played like it for whatever reason. I think this series is a defining series for what they will be going forward. If they get swept or out of here in one game, like this is going to be probably the most turnover heavy team during the off season. So a
Yeah.
team that's playing for their identity, I think will come out, show the best version of themselves, stretch this to about 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. You say that. I mean, yeah, again, I'm curious to see. I think it hinges on Paolo.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah. He said
I
he's going
agree.
to set the tone for how Orlando is going to look for the series. But yeah, like I think when now you come up against a team like Detroit, who's really going to put pressure on Paolo as opposed to what Charlotte was able to do, we're really going to see. We're really going to see. But I don't have too much faith in it, if I'm honest.
Hey, we will see. We will see. One more series that you're definitely going to have to pull out faith and hope if you think that there's going to be something in this series. Celtics versus Sixers. Another series with a lot of institutional knowledge over the past 5 years. They've played multiple times in the playoffs, but these versions of the teams are not the prior versions of the teams. Celtics got Jason Tatum back. Remarkable recovery. Has looked about 85-90% of himself. Maxey, Edgecombe, been great stories. We don't even know if we'll see Embiid in this series, though. And we know we won't see vintage PG in this series. So, Lou, do you think the Sixers have any chance against the Celtics in this?
I mean, there's a reason why this is how we're closing the show. So with the 4 minutes we have left, I think that tell you exactly how many games it will take for this series to be over.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I will say, if you're the Sixers, you're hoping you can steal one in Boston and have at least one game fully healthy in Philadelphia. But we knew coming into this series that this team wasn't going to make it far in the playoffs because there's been a hope and a dream that they just didn't have this year, and that was their team being healthy. And that's not going to change in the next week or so. For Boston, this is just a good warm-up for them for, seeing us, seeing the Knicks next. So,
oh man, I mean, so what do you think happens next with Embiid? You know, where do the Sixers go from here? You have Maxey, you have Edgecombe, you have a solid foundation for the future.
I think, the future. Go for it, Pop Mamba.
I believe in a Dembona.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We should end the show right there.
Yep, that's it.
And with that,
hey, a Dembona is a good defensive center, man.
He is.
He's definitely what Luka would like. That's
Oh
the
my
type of center
gosh.
Luka would like.
Oh my gosh. Look, you anything to get. Look at you. Look at you. You just greedy, bro.
Look, it's 64-46 at halftime right now as we record this with the Celtics and the Sixers, man. It's fucking toast.
Series is over. Series is over.
There's only so much Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe could do.
For real.
So hey, man. You know.
Hey, man. Sixers should make a trade, man. Get Embiid to go play with Steph.
They should bring all the agents.
The retirement home in Golden State?
They should. They should bring all the agents.
They're all in their golden years.
LeBron, KD, Steph.
Shoot, bring back Clay.
Chris Paul out of retirement.
Nah, Chris Paul won out.
Clay Thompson. Klay Thompson
by the way,
off
did you
the
see
bench.
Chris Paul? Sorry, we're going on a different tangent right now. Did you see what Chris Paul posted on his IG story after the
I
Clippers lost?
did. When you brought up
petty.
As you should
when
be.
you brought up James Harden snickering, I thought about what Chris Paul posted. I said, no, that's where the pettiness is at. Safe to say we may be waiting for that Chris Paul jersey night. How about that?
Yo.
How about that? All right, folks. With that, that's what we got. Had a great show. Gave it our best without our fearless leader Hans. But we had the birthday boy Pop Mamba with us, so we knew we would make it through. As always, thank you for listening. Make sure you do all the things. Click like, subscribe, follow us wherever you're at from a social standpoint. You'll be hearing more and more from us throughout the playoffs. Thank you as always. Y'all have a great week.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, give us a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you can keep up with us every week. Be sure to follow us on all our socials at the 3on3 Podcast. Hey, got a question, topic you want us to talk about? Hit us up on our email at 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate y'all. Tune in next week.